Images of the Darling River choked with thousands of dead fish this summer have shocked the nation and highlighted the sick state of the vital Murray-Darling system. Fish are continuing to die and local residents worry there won't be any left alive before the summer's over. The lower Darling depends on water from the Menindee Lakes to keep flowing, but with barely any water left in the lakes, the weir has been closed. As grim as the situation is now, locals fear it could get even worse. Regional correspondent Dominic Schwartz reports.
There's going to be more fish kills, and I would say by the end of this summer there would be lucky to be a fish alive in the lower Darling.
We were the healthiest section of river in the 90s, but since then it's just been continually picked at until they've raped it beyond recognition, and we're left with nothing.
There's probably going to be none to save eventually, isn't it, if it keeps going the way it is?
The lower Darling River at Menindee is on life support. After 3 devastating fish kills in the stagnant water, locals have rushed in a donated aerator to try to boost oxygen levels. Coordinating the effort is Graham McCrabb, an irrigator and keen fisherman.
Got quite a few fish that have been struggling for the last week or so, but they've been really evident the last couple of days, so we're just trying to give them a hand. It's going to come into here, I think.
He acknowledges it's a last-ditch effort in just one small section of the river.
There's lots of water holes that need help, so it's a pretty, I don't know, it's a massive task. It's a bit like a bucket to a bushfire, really.
But desperate times call for desperate measures. With no guarantee that the struggling Murray cod here will survive, New South Wales fisheries officers move in.
This stretch of river is a crucial breeding ground for the Murray cod, but at the moment it's a killing zone, which is why these fish are being rescued and taken hundreds of kilometres away to a fish hatchery.
It's not something that we normally do to try and rescue fish, but this was the opportunity and we thought that we really had to do something and try and do the best by those fish.
You want to get with Babsy? You get down to Babsy.
Matt McClellan runs the native fish breeding program at Narrandera, 650 kilometres away. He says the 20 cod captured today will help boost fish stocks across the Murray-Darling Basin before being returned to the wild in 5 years.
From a large female Murray cod, you could get anywhere from 10 to 50,000 fish per year. So, you know, if we're talking around 20,000 fish per year average from 10 females, we could be looking at 200,000 fish. So, you know, that can have great benefits down the track.
And the idea of preserving the genetics from the lower Darling is obviously a good cause, but seriously, to spend $13 billion on a basin plan feature around environmental outcomes to have millions of dead fish, to end up with 8 fisheries blokes in the water retrieving 20, it's pretty ridiculous, to be honest.
Local Barkindji woman Cindy Bates used to catch Murray cod by hand in the river's rock pools.
Sad to see him go, but I don't want to see him dead either.
2 expert scientific panels are investigating the circumstances surrounding the fish deaths. But no one disputes that what's needed more than anything is clean, flowing water, and lots of it. The lower Darling gets its flows from Menindee Lakes, a chain of 7 natural shallow lakes which were modified in the 1960s to store more water. When full, as shown here in 2010, they hold 3.5 times Sydney Harbour. Right now, however, they hold barely a trickle.
I've been fishing and yabbing and camping on this lake system for over 60 years. One of the most beautiful and pristine wetland areas in Australia, or it was. Well, the project proposes to drain.
Mark Hutton heads up the Darling River Action Group and says he's so concerned about the water situation he'll contest the state election as an independent on the ticket of former Greens MP Jeremy Buckingham.
Menindee Lake was the biggest rookery for pelicans in the southern hemisphere. Now you'll see 20 or 30 in small patches. There used to be thousands and thousands of them, but not anymore.
How long ago are you talking?
20 years ago, pre-2000.
Since then, the lakes have been drained numerous times to send water to South Australia under the Murray-Darling Basin Plan. That's left little in reserve here in times of drought, a situation which could become entrenched under a New South Wales government proposal. Its plan is to release water more quickly from the Menindee Lakes to reduce losses through evaporation.
Menindee Lakes is just one part of the broader Murray-Darling Basin system, and yeah, we need to look at this project in that light. We need to make sure that we can take as much water and put it back into the river as possible.
But there have been plenty of critics, including the South Australian Royal Commissioner and the Basin Authority itself.
It's not going to deliver the savings it needs to deliver. It's not going to deliver the environmental outcomes it's meant to deliver. It's a political fix.
Mary Ann Slattery was the Director of Environmental Water Policy at the Basin Authority. She says the Lower Darling is being sacrificed for large-scale irrigation interests upstream.
It's just appalling that governments could do this to communities and take away their water and take away their industry and their livelihoods without even consulting with them.
Unfortunately, I can't speak for...
But the New South Wales Water Minister has given no undertaking that he'll change the Menindee Lakes water-saving plan.
This is not about trying to move projects to one part of the state or the other because of votes. The Menindee Lakes project has been on the table for many years.
But the 70 families that farm along the Lower Darling feel they've been sold down the river.
We've been just left abandoned and no future whatsoever. We're looking at what's being held back by this weir, maybe 4 months of water, and then we have nothing at all.
Rachel Strawn is an irrigator at Tulney Point, right at the end of the Lower Darling. 3 Strawn families live and work on sheep and, in a good year, crops.
So what do you do if in 4 months' time you haven't got water?
Not even facing that at the moment. It's too hard.
Rachel Strawn says the Murray-Darling Basin Authority should never have released the water so quickly from Menindee Lakes, and that the New South Wales Government must reconsider its water-saving proposal if the current tragedy is not to be repeated.
The base health of the river has to be prioritised, and if a fish can't live in it, you can't bathe in it, your stock can't drink it, so it's basically dead. I don't care who you are, I don't think anyone's happy with that.
Dominic Schwartz reporting.